everyone. We have another DCooperation with an amazing guy from US. So his name is Scott, and he is, by the way, a witness, and I am very excited to interview him because this is the first witness who is interviewed by me. Hello, Scott.
Hey, how's it going? By the way, Canada, not the US, just so you can see the...
Sorry. Yes, I am used to interview people from US. So
yeah,
Canada.
most people think I'm from the US too, so that's fine.
Okay, so now everybody will know that you are from Canada.
Yeah.
Okay, when did you join Steem blockchain and how did you find about it?
So I joined back in January, and I really started getting into cryptocurrency last year, and then I've sort of, I was getting into the basics of it, just investing, all the basics, and then starting in 2018, I started to, how can I dive into the blockchain a little bit more? How can I actually, look more into the underlying technology and learn more about it? So I was browsing the internet a lot and, doing research and stuff, and eventually I stumbled upon Steem, and I thought it was really interesting. I thought I would go and try it out, and I just started started from there. I've also looked at a lot of other blockchain socials, but Steem is definitely one of the best that's out there right now, and they have a very strong community, and I gravitated towards it, and I've been using it ever since.
Yeah, so how long you are on Steem blockchain?
Since January of this year.
Yeah, so more than 1 year, yes?
No, of this year. So only
this year.
Yeah, oh. So about a little over 6 months.
6 months. Even 6 months, you have already good experience, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a lot of posts. I try to post pretty often, so I've been on there almost daily. So I've got a lot of experience in the short time that I've been here.
Yeah, it's amazing. So how we can find you exactly in Steem blockchain?
At sign Scott C Business. Scott C Business.
Yeah.
That's my social handle across all platforms as well.
Yeah. And can you tell us also about your witness? When did you start your witness, and what are you doing to support the community of Steem blockchain?
Yeah, so I started witnessing about 3 months ago, and the original motivation behind it was that when I started to learn about witnesses myself, it was very challenging as like someone who hadn't really, like there wasn't a lot of direction in the community for witnesses, I found, as a newer user when I was sort of starting out. And a lot of my motivation was I wanted to sort of better the communication between witnesses and end users, and even just the understanding and the sort of like the ability, the accessibility, how easy it is to find, information about witnesses, all these different things. So I started off by making a Discord server witness communication assembly where, witnesses can, store all of their posts and sort of interact with the community. It hasn't gone as well as I'd hoped because, I mean, it is just a Discord server. I mean, if Steem were to adopt a actual messaging system, or if we see communities rolling out, I really think that could be interesting with for witness related things. But from there, I've sort of been building on that, but I've also branched out to a lot of other things. I've been doing a lot in Steemit education, so just like teaching new users how to use Steemit, sort of looking for the issues that people are having and making tutorials and getting people through those processes. Like a large issue that we see is people signing up for Steemit, waiting for approvals, all these different things. People are way too impatient and they give up. It's been 2 days, I haven't gotten approved, and they give up. So there's a lot of different things that can be improved, and that's sort of what I wanted to focus on, as well as I feel like the minnow representation they're not very well represented in the interests of witnesses. So that was another big point for me, to sort of help represent the small, or like the majority, but the smaller represented parties that are like within the politics of the Steem blockchain.
Yeah, and I just have an idea. What is your ranking between witnesses?
I honestly haven't checked in the last couple days, but last time I checked, I was, I think, 133, but I'm inactive right now because I missed a block. So I'm not like listed as an active witness. And I mean, it kind of sucks when you're a newer witness, because if you miss a block, it'll set you to inactive, and then it takes you a really long time to mine another block. So you'll be inactive for a really long time. And I think what happened when that happened was the server that I was using, there was like an issue and a bunch of servers went down on that day, and that happened to be the same day as the block, coincidentally. But yeah, so it's a pretty interesting process. And I mean, given that I am so like highly supported, considering I'm pretty new, it's great to see, and I want to keep pushing for more. A big thing for me is pushing for like charities on the blockchain, because I think it's really interesting. And I recently started working with Fundition very like last month, and they're a really great crowdfunding platform on Steem, and I really like to focus on their charity aspects that they focus on, because it's really cool that, you know, for the first time you can donate to charity via an upvote, and I think that's really, really interesting. And yeah, and I'm doing a lot to focus on charities and pushing for that kind of stuff on the blockchain.
Yeah, but even the 133 ranking, it's very good ranking, I think, because you are very close to 100, and you are a new witness. You can say it's you are doing very well. And
yeah, I mean, you could say I'm probably the only one in Canada. So.
Oh, I see. By the way, how many witnesses are there?
I mean, it's hard to tell because, I mean, you could look it up on, like, you could see for active witnesses, but I mean, sometimes it's hard to tell because, like I said before, people like me or, you know, newer witnesses, if we miss a block, you'd be considered inactive. So it's somewhat hard to tell, but I'd say there's more than 1,000, but I'd say there's under 1,000 for, you know, active witnesses.
Yeah, I see. So it's amazing. It's amazing work you are doing, I think, because I think, I don't know, my understanding of witness is that you care about servers, everything happening in Steem blockchain, you care about that. You like, you are holding the Steem blockchain in your hands.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I haven't made any money. I've just put money into it, right? So it's not about like profit or anything. I mean, you will make money if you're like one of the top witnesses, but you know, if you're outside of the top 20, you're probably, for the most part, losing money. So it's really about the community and what you're trying to help contribute. It's not about, you know, profiteering or anything like that. So it's very about trying to move the community forward, and like, how can we improve things, and how can we influence policies, and, you know, sort of have that political atmosphere within the blockchain.
Yeah, it's amazing. I respect witnesses a lot, because I know a lot of witnesses. They are having applications, they are building projects, they are doing very amazing thing in Steem blockchain. I am already voted on 30 witnesses, and I have even a list of that, and I like upgrade every 2 months, and I check if the witness is still active. I keep voting in for him. If it's not, I just remove my vote and try to find another. I always try, and I advise everyone to vote for witnesses, because it's very important to Steem blockchain. And by the way, what do you think about Steem blockchain, the whole system?
Yeah, I think the Steem blockchain is revolutionary. It's really, really interesting. And that's sort of why I dove into Steem, because, you know, when I found out all the different utility that it provides, you know, from long-term investing to, you know, being able to use the blockchain as a social media platform, like all these different utilities that it sort of brings to blockchain, it's very interesting. And that's why I'm most heavily invested out of everything that I'm invested in Steem. And that's where I, you know, have my strongest focus for social media and everything. And yeah, I really like the blockchain. But like anything, it can be improved. And that's why I'm a witness. And, you know, I'm pushing for improvements to the policies. And it compared to a lot of the previous cryptocurrencies that we saw in the past, it is so much more powerful, efficient, faster. A lot of the things that we want to see as we continue upgrading the blockchain and innovating and making new technologies. I think Steem is a real pivotal cryptocurrency and blockchain to sort of lead that. And we're seeing a lot more social media tokens popping up now, and there's a lot more going on in that field. So it's really great to see that innovation, and I think it's sort of leading that change. Yeah,
it's amazing. Yes, Steem blockchain is just revolutionary. It's something huge.
Yeah. It's interesting because you'll tell people, and the average person that I talk to thinks automatically like it must be a scam if free money is just being given out to people. But and then where's the money coming from? All these different questions, and it's just like, you know what, you just need to get on there and see all this craziness for yourself, and then you'll sort of have an idea.
Yeah, I think to invite people to Steem blockchain that ask a lot of questions, it's not so interesting. We have to invite people that understand, that like to learn, because we are almost learning every day. I am personally really learning every day something new. And new, maybe we are learning always something new.
Yeah, Steem is definitely it is so complex and in depth, and it's interesting. You can always learn more, and that's why I'm always making Steem education videos and tutorials and blogs and stuff like that, because there's really always more to learn, right? And some new application comes out, and then there's all these new features and things that you can do on the Steem blockchain. So then we have to teach people about that. And typically I'll just dive into something, learn it real quick, and then just share my like first or second experience to give that like new perspective, but like still sort of sharing it with people. And that's typically what I do. I've also been diving more into like other things like philosophy and alternative news with all the censorship that we're seeing. I think the censorship that we're seeing a lot with traditional social media is sort of also leading the way for people to come on to Steem, because we just saw last week or this week the ban of InfoWars, which is like everywhere, right? I don't know if you've kept up with that, but it's all over the place because major institutions all partnered together, and at the same time they all banned InfoWars. So it's really interesting. We're seeing all these institutions like collaborating or conspiring, I guess, and then it's really pushing the change for people to come on to Steem. I'm actually going to be posting a video today where I was looking at the Facebook market share dropping a massive amount, and talking about exactly this, how people are switching over to censorship resistant platforms, and the way that people are leading onto social media blockchains.
Yeah. But anyway, I always say that, because a lot of people, they say that we have to leave completely Facebook and YouTube, but I don't think so, because we have to profit from the traffic of Facebook and YouTube and other social media to attract more people to Steem. This is what
one of the biggest I guess like problems or just maybe misunderstandings or misconceptions is people think like, delete Facebook, delete Twitter. Well, not necessarily, because we can't just talk about what's happening outside of Twitter and hope that Twitter is going to hear about it, because that's not going to work, right? Like, we have to get the people from Twitter to come over here and then realize what's happening on Twitter. And that's the only way that we can really properly spread the information. Plus, myself, I'm a social media marketer by trade, so I can't neglect any social platforms.
Yeah, it's amazing. Also, okay, let's move to you. And by the way, where did you get this hat and this?
I actually just got these, so I figured I'd wear them. I got the hat through. I don't know if you know Reseller on DTube. Of course. He promotes. I think in his like signature, I saw there was like a shop link for DTube merchandise. So I was like, you know what? I'll have to get a DTube hat. And then Steem, this is the actual through the Steem merchandise shop that is like right on Steem. And I bought both of these using Steem, so I thought that was pretty cool too. Yeah. A good use case to actually spend your your Steem or SBD in that way.
Yeah, and that's a great support for Steem blockchain also.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
keep the recycling through the system.
Yeah, of course. Okay, let's move to you. What are your skills and things that you do well in your life?
Yeah, so I do social media marketing primarily right now, and that's also partially why I got into Steem It, because it's a social platform, and myself being a social media marketer, seeing all the different things with censorship and all these people moving over to different platforms, I thought it was really interesting because there's not very many influencers and brands, and I think that's a large part of adoption for major platforms. And it was interesting. I talked about this before. And there was some backlash where people were like, oh, well, we don't want brands and influencers here ruining Steem. And I was like, well, that's how, like, they have to be there for mass adoption because they're going to be paying the influencers and, doing all these different things. So generally with mass adoption, we'll have to see everything coming onto the platform. We can't just say, no corporations. And so, so a huge point for me is I want to start onboarding different brands and influencers onto Steem and other social media blockchain platforms, because I think it's very undervalued attention right now, and as it scales, it'll become much more valuable, and it'll just benefit people to have their foundation set on these platforms now, so that when it does bubble up, they're already well established and they'll scale with the platform as it scales. Being a higher up influencer, obviously, more people will be able to find you, and then as more people join the platform, more people will end up following you, etc.
Yeah. About the brands, I think you are right, because we have to invite them, because I think we need to attract more investors, because we already have enough creators and we need more creators, but we need investors as well. So
yeah,
I think that no one is inviting a lot of investors. We need to invite them as well.
Yeah, and yeah, because you don't see any brands really on the blockchain, and yeah, it's natural that they have to be there to sort of pay and influence and get things going with the people who actually have the followings, right? Because say someone with 2 million followers joins Steem, even if a small portion of their followers also follows them, then that is a massive influx of new members. So all these little things sort of add up, and we need the brands to be there for influencers to want to be there, to know that there's money in doing that, and it's worth doing. Because unfortunately, it really comes down for the most people to are there enough people on there? Like, is this worth my money? Because when you're talking with like major influencers, it's just like, is it worth it for me to pay someone to help me manage my Steem account? And that might not be a yes right now, but if we're getting more and more people onto the blockchain and more brands specifically, then the answer could be yes very soon. And that's generally where we want to take things, obviously, for mass adoption to really be realized.
Yeah, and it's really possible, because we have like a posting key. You can give that manager a posting key and he will not touch your funds. And
yeah, for sure. Yeah. And you can have multiple accounts and many things too. So
yeah. There are a lot of ways. Okay, the last question is about tips that you can give to Steemians and DTubers and generally to people to grow on platforms.
It was hard for me to narrow some of these down, so let me just refer to my notes here. I have a few little tips to go. My first tip is try posting every day for 30 days when you start up on Steem, because I think one of the biggest issues is people think that Steem is gonna get them all this money, and they come onto the platform and maybe their friends oversold it a little bit. I think that's what usually happens. It's like you go to tell your friends, you're like, there's this amazing platform, you can earn money. And then people are like, oh my God, I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to start, and they come on and they don't earn very much. And then they're all upset and they say, well, this doesn't actually work the way I thought it would work. But it's really because, no one, you can't just come on to make money because people see that. So then if you're not actually in it for the long term, if you're not actually, about the community, that obviously shows. So that's, so then you don't end up making the money anyways, because you didn't have that integrity and that good intent. But I definitely think that people should at least try posting for 30 days to really, get a hang of it. And I also think it's not just about making the money, it's about, like, you don't have to worry about censorship. It's a whole new platform. It's, like, even if you were going to post these things anyways, you should, because you should post them here as well, because now you can also earn. It's not like specifically you can earn and then forget everything else. It's you can also earn. So I think that's a big moot point for people that they should focus on. My second tip was post for passion, not for profit. And I guess that kind of ties into the same thing there, what I just went over, posting for passion, not for profit, because it shows at the end of the day. And then trying out different platforms. So trying the different platforms on Steem, I think is pretty cool and important to do. Like, it's, people think, there's just Steemit, but there's DTube, there's DLive, there's Steepshot, there's Fundition, there's all these different platforms and applications. And, people might use Steem just to use Fundition and donate to charity, or they might just use it for Steepshot because they like Instagram and that's all they posted on before. Whatever it might be, I think it's like people should definitely go and check them all out to see what they like and get an idea of what's sort of within the blockchain. In terms of, like, how to make your content, all those kinds of things, it's hard to really dive into all of it, but I mean, I have tons of tutorials and blogs and things that people could check out on my page. So, yeah.
Yeah, amazing, very good tips, of course, especially from a professional internet marketer like you. I am very glad that you participated in this interview, and I am really proud to interview a witness. It's amazing, and I hope all the people will vote for you, because you are really useful and you are making a lot of good things to Steem blockchain. So check. Can you spell your name?
Scott C Business. So
Yeah.
SCOTTCBUSINESS.
Yeah, so check him, follow him, and vote him as a witness if you are not voting yet. So, and thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in our next DCooperation. Goodbye.